Greetings, friends. Welcome to my little Coldplay corner over here. Today I'm doing a video that's a little more casual. It's not another reaction though, but I do kind of want to do more of those. You guys seem to like that. But today I am going to talk to you about my top 10 Coldplay songs. And I should clarify what I mean by that is that these are my personal favorite, my 10 personal favorite Coldplay songs. In order, I'm going to count them down, so from 10 to 1. But these were my personal favorites, not, I want to make this very clear, not a list of what I believe to be Coldplay's best songs. Some of these songs that are on my personal top 10, I do think are among the best songs that they've ever made. But there are many other songs that I think are more objectively the best songs that Coldplay have made, which are not within my personal favorites for various reasons. Maybe they don't connect with me emotionally or whatever. But I can still recognize from the perspective of the artistry. So I may do another video on that, what I think are Coldplay's best songs, more objectively speaking. But this video is just for my personal favorites. So what I'm going to do is go through each one. Like I said, I'm going to count them down. So we'll go from number 10 to the number 1 spot. And I'm just going to kind of talk about what puts these songs in my favorites. What about these songs really speaks to me, the person. So let's get started. Okay, so the first song that's on my list is Arabesque. And I think go straight for it. This song has some of the best written lyrics of any Coldplay song, and it's the French verse. So the best Coldplay lyrics are ones that Chris Martin is incapable of singing properly when they perform it live. But overall, this is a song that really starts very strong. Right from the start, it goes for it. And it continues to build up throughout. And there are periods of the song where some of the instruments back off, but it's always, there's this very persistent drum beat throughout. It never lets up. And I think that for kind of the message behind the song, that's a good thing that's perfectly conveys in tone what they're trying to get across with the lyrics. It just gets bigger and bigger. The song just gets bigger and bigger until the very last note, and then it's over. But I remember the first time hearing this song when they premiered it on radio. That is kind of a similar feeling to listening to Coloratura for the first time, which was feeling oh, this song is still going. There's more to it. Not necessarily in a bad way, oh my God, I'm so done with this song. But just that, there's a lot of false endings almost. There's a lot of moments where, and Coloratura does this a lot more, but Arabesque, I felt it as well, especially listening to it the first time. There's a lot of points where you feel this would be a good place for the song to end, but it keeps going. And especially toward the end of the song when it's really, really building up, it just keeps getting bigger. But like I said, throughout the entire song, it's really about the feeling, Every instrument that's in here is expressing a feeling, whether that's from the noodling guitar, the persistent drums, like I mentioned before, the flowing horns. And I think, it's kind of a little bit of an angry song, expressing anger, but not necessarily toward a specific person, not necessarily calling out a specific person. It's more sharing a kind of worldview, but also underneath that expressing the anger and frustration of not everyone else seeing things the same way as you. and the fact that not everyone sees it that way causes a lot of hardship in life where it's unnecessary. I think that's really present throughout the entire song. It has a fantastic message, very clearly worded, very plainly stated, and it's something too, I think this is the great like culmination of Coldplay trying to express that message in more recent years prior to Everyday Life. So this message of I could be you, you could be me, we share the same blood, two angles of the same view. These are things that also showed up in the songs Life is Beautiful. They showed up in Hypnotized. So it's something that they've been working on trying to express that, and I think they did it fantastically with this song. It's amazing. So number 10, Arabesque. So number 9 is Moving to Mars. First of all, it's about space. So I love it. I mean, the song feels like space. There's space in the way the music begins. This song also builds up throughout. Coldplay's really good at doing that. It builds up until this moment where we kind of take off. To me, it's like mirroring the theme of the song itself, because we're like placed, it feels like we're placed on a track, literally a music track in this case, but we're like placed on a track and we can't move from it, and we are brought into space by Coldplay, moved to Mars, if you will. And then the ending of the song is kind of like a descent, a final descent onto the planet to the destination of Mars. So we're like placed on this track and led through, and I think that the transition between those different stages of like I said, like you get started and then we take off, and then there's the descent. Well, there's the journey and then there's the descent. And I think that the transition between each of those different stages is like so seamless, and everything, it just flows together really well. It's also a beautiful song. Like Johnny's solo is amazing. It has a very kind of like Pink Floyd is what I always think of, like mellow vibe. Actually, I played this song to my dad one time. He's a big Pink Floyd fan, and he was like, that's a Pink Floyd song with Johnny solo. Has some similarities to the song the Fletcher Memorial Home. So that's what I always think of. But this song is a lot, even though it's like almost kind of like a dire topic, like we're being moved to Mars with involuntarily, presumably, and there's nothing that we can do about it. They're gonna move us to Mars. But it's still there's no like urgency in this song, which there's a lot of throughout Coldplay's discography, especially earlier stuff. The songs, like even the slower songs, still have a sense of urgency to them. And that's kind of missing from this song. It's very relaxed, oddly, but it works at the same time. And because of that, and because of the contents of the song, it's very unique. It was a very unique song at the time that it came out. There was really no other Coldplay song that sounded like this, that had this kind of structure to it, I guess. Maybe I'm speaking off the top of my head here. You can debate me on that if you like. But it definitely, I would say, obviously, people have been talking about this. This definitely paved the way for the other Space Symphony, which is Coloratura, in that progression of, you know, having all these different parts and going through a journey and it being about space. This is definitely like the test run of that. And for me, it's a beautiful test run. Goes in my number 9 spot. Okay, number 8 is Warning Sign. And guys, how could anyone possibly hear this opening guitar and not feel something? It's so emotional. Do I know what emotions are? Who knows? But I know I don't really understand emotions all the time, but I can feel them. And this music is an emotion. Warning Sign is an emotion. But I mean, seriously though, it's so beautiful. It's like, this song is another calm song, I guess. Is there a sense of urgency in it still? I think so. But this song it always gives me the feeling of like in spring, like mid-spring, when it starts getting like actually warm and not just slightly warm but raining. But like on a nice warm day when you're like driving around and you have the window down, that's what this song makes me think of, like a beautiful spring day. So musically, amazing. And then as far as like the lyrics and stuff, I mean, as an anxious person, I can relate to the feeling that, you know, Chris is kind of talking about in the verses, which is like this feeling of thinking or feeling that there must always be something wrong that you need to fix. And sometimes what happens is that you have that, because you have that feeling, it makes you go looking for things that could be wrong, even when objectively you're in a good place. And it would be better to just leave it alone. It would cause you less stress, less suffering to just leave it alone. But you just have something in you that says, no, there has to be something wrong. There has to be something that can be improved. So I can relate to that. It's not always fun. But then the other thing that I love, the one moment that I really, really, really love most in this song, it's at 3:12. The timestamp is 3 minutes and 12 seconds. When Chris sings that I started looking for a warning sign and his voice goes down, he sings the lower note. Oh, amazing and incredible. And the thing is too that like at this point, especially in the discography, even until 2 albums later, we didn't really get much of Chris singing deep notes at all. But like just the way he sings that, he hits it, it's just so beautiful. It's so beautiful. So I love that note that goes down. But then also what gets me, one of the things honestly that drew me to Coldplay was the falsetto. So gotta love that falsetto. It just beautifully ends a beautiful song. That's it. Warning sign number 8. My number 7 entry is White Shadows. This song I might actually do a video on at some point because I am really interested in like the intentions behind X and Y, like the different messages. I think some of the songs on X and Y to me have a bit of a sarcasm, a bit of a sarcastic and bitter undertone. And this is one of them, White Shadows. This struggle, as always, this struggle between involuntarily being part of something that's larger than yourself, not sure where your place in all of that is, not sure who you are as an individual piece, and just wanting to find an easy and permanent answer. And this song is kind of almost a predecessor to Glass of Water, which I did a video on. Like, this is the mindset of someone Glass of Water is also meant for. And I feel like there's some condescension in the lyrics, especially in the chorus. Like, you want these things, but they're not possible. And at the same time, you probably already have some of what you think is missing. You're just not able to recognize it. So in that way, it kind of goes back to warning sign also. Like, you're looking for something that is already there, but you're not seeing it in the right way. Honestly, these songs have been favorites of mine for a long time, but I am really feeling the relevance of these songs in my own life a lot more lately. Like, the effects of it, which is interesting because I'm pretty much, at this point, I'm a little bit older now, like 1 year maybe, than Chris was, you know, when X and Y came out. I'm definitely a couple years older at this point from how old he was writing these songs. So it's interesting to kind of attach these songs that I listened to earlier on in my life to periods of my life that are maybe more closely related to where they came from the artist, you know? We don't have the same life at all, me and Chris, but there are some things that I would say we have in common personality-wise. Anyway, other than that, like, as far as the music itself, it's definitely a more rocky song. Fittingly, I don't think that any individual part of the music stands out. So each instrument is part of a system, a plan. And together it makes an incredible song. I mean, I love all the different elements of the song, but none of them stand out more. Like, I wouldn't say like, oh my God, the guitar in White Shadows is so beautiful. It is, but everything is kind of at the same level of good. And it's all contributing to the same thing ultimately. You couldn't take out any piece of it, in my opinion. You couldn't take out any single instrument and have it be awesome on its own. It's like the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, right? But then there's also the ending of the song, which I love. It's beautiful, and I love the line, "See it in the new sunrise and see it break on your horizon." I've always loved that. It's just the way it sounds, even when you just speak it, but then the way Chris sings it, it's just amazing. Amazing. That's what I think about all these songs. They're all amazing. Next amazing song, number 6, is Ghost Story. Now, this is a song which truly does not hold back. Arabesque didn't hold back. Ghost Story does not hold back. And it's another kind of bitter song about feeling like you're invisible to the people that you care about. But actually, no. You know what? It's not your fault that they aren't treating you like you deserve to be treated. You're not doing anything wrong. They won't give you the time of day, and that's on them, not you. What's the point of putting in so much effort into a relationship, whatever kind, when the other person isn't? That's what this song is saying to me. It's like, oh, maybe I'm doing something wrong. No, I'm not. It's you. You're the one who's treating me this way. I'm not doing anything wrong. And, well, you know, if you're noticing a pattern in the songs that I like, it's probably either, like, long, stringy and twinkling guitar and piano parts, or thundering drums and bass and guitar. And I love a good song that you can stomp to, you know. Ghost Story is one of those for me. I also seem to like songs that express an anger which has been buried or suppressed. So maybe I should do some reflection on that. The other thing about this song too, I mean, maybe because it's called Ghost Story, but also like just the music itself, it has a particularly Western feel to it to me. Like, I feel like even when I watch the video where they're just like in this like void studio space, I feel like I'm in a saloon and I'm about to go have a showdown with someone. It's like Ghost Story, but it feels like a ghost town. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's the kind of vibe that I get from this song, and I love it. And then there's also just one last thing. Speaking of the drums and stuff, there's the one part where after the noises, and then Will's drum comes in, it's like, and like I said, this song does not hold back, and it's beautiful, and I love it, and everyone should respect Ghost Story. Period. The end. Now, let's move on to the top 5, the second half, which is really the first half. And number 5 is Up With the Birds. Amazing and beautiful, like all of the other songs. This, to me, is one of the best album closers for sure. Coldplay are amazing with album openers. That is a much harder list to to rank. But the album closers, they have some really great album closers. They have some that are pretty good. And to me, the criteria for that is really that it should wrap up the entire album, not just be good as like the last song to hear, but also I should feel like it concludes the album. At least that's my personal opinion. So this song, I think, does a really great job at doing that. It sets the atmosphere right from the start. It feels very cinematic. So in a way, again, kind of setting the first foot forward toward getting to the coloratura place. and one thing that I really love, the song is so atmospheric. And one of the things that I really love is there's like these little guitar slides. I think I've always assumed that it's a guitar noise. I guess it could also be like violin, because there are some strings before it. I mean, guitars technically have strings, so it's a string instrument, but these little slides, right, that sound like birds. Oh, it's amazing. And then the guitar starts to come in this like, and then there's one last one. Oh, I love that so much. It's amazing. This song is one of the calmer ones. It's not a rock song. It doesn't go hard per se. But I feel like it also doesn't hold back either, especially in the second half of the song. Chris just gives it his all, you know? This may be a very clear pattern in this countdown, and I can promise you it's not going to be the last time you hear me say that either about a song. It's interesting. This song is interesting to me as an album closer because it's an ending that is all about starting again, and that nothing really ends. Something will always go on. So even when bad things are around, even when you've made mistakes, one day good things are coming our way. It's a simple plot, a simple truth. And I think that, like I said, that really sums up the whole message of Milo Xyloto. That idea that good things are coming our way. The sun must set to rise. Well, it will rise. And then the falsetto. And when he does that, ooh, yeah. Oh my God. It's not even anything. It's not language, but it just conveys that emotion so perfectly. So perfectly. Number 4 is a song that I already referenced earlier. So it actually is on my top 10, which is Glass of Water. A beautiful, beautiful song. So I've already done a video about this song, kind of breaking down the message behind it. The message is one of the things that kind of draws me to the song the most. It's a song that is encouraging, enjoying your life in the moment and not worrying about what's happened to you before or what might happen to you in the future. And by living in the moment, really allowing yourself to see and take opportunities as they come, rather than focusing on superstitions and thinking that, if you do certain things, your life will go a certain way or anything like that. Again, kind of going back to like White Shadows, it's that kind of mindset, which is like when your brain works that way, it's a struggle. And so like, yeah, sometimes you need this reminder of like, is heaven gonna be in my future? Like, dude, don't ask. You might not like the answer, but also like you might not get an answer. A lot of the time there's not an answer that you can have now. You can have the answer after the fact, but even then, like, at that point it's done. So why keep worrying about it, you know? I think this song also is very beautifully composed. Like we've mentioned before, it goes hard in certain places. In other places it like kind of calms down a little, but then it comes back full force, and it's really like, it's a great kind of what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say teeter-totter, seesaw, but that's not right. It's a great like balance between the highs and the lows. And of course, it's also just a great combination of the guitars and piano. which is something that I really love in Coldplay's music when they kind of mix them together. Not just in a ballad way, which is great, like Coloratura. I keep talking about that song because it just came out a couple weeks ago. But really when they use the piano in a rock way, I love that because I feel like you don't think about piano in that way all the time. And that's what Coldplay are always bringing in, things you don't think about. So number 4 for me is Glass of Water. Go check out my video if you haven't seen it after this, and let me know what you think. But number 3 is a song which I feel is very underappreciated and not really talked about at all. Maybe because the title is so long. I think this is Coldplay's longest song title, which is No More Keeping My Feet on the Ground. Not to be confused with Now My Feet Won't Touch the Ground, which is a different song. No More Keeping My Feet on the Ground. This song is actually from the Safety EP. Originally it was on the Safety EP, and then it was released as a B-side for Yellow, at least in my understanding. And I'll just start with the music first. That as far as that, I think that a lot of the pre-Parachutes songs are even more experimental and layered and interesting than the actual first 2 albums they put out. Just my opinion. So if you're thinking, oh, Coldplay used to be great, Parachutes and A Rush of Blood to the Head are their best albums. But I honestly think some of the stuff that they made before Parachutes is better than the stuff that is on Parachutes. We can talk about that later. But anyway, but the song has like that bass line is amazing. I love it. And this song really is like, the music to me feels like ambition, which is what the song is kind of about. I think of it as being a song made for morning people, even though Chris Martin is clearly not a morning person. He doesn't sleep at night, so he can't really be a morning person. But the song is kind of like about ambition and about like seizing life, which really makes sense considering how young they were when they made this song. But I think it's also great for like when you're going through transitions in your life, especially when you're young, but even when you're a little older and still feeling overwhelmed by like all the looming possibilities of living through the potential decades that you have ahead of you. And so it's really about like, okay, I've still got some time left, but it's gonna go. And after it goes, it'll have gone by so fast. So I really have to like get going. Well, it's time to start moving, you know? This could be my last chance of saving my innocence. Maybe I'll do a video on this song too. Let me know if you're interested in that. But number 3, No More Keeping My Feet on the Ground. I think that it's a highly underrated song. We don't talk about it enough. It's amazing. The second song for me, number 2, is God Put a Smile Upon Your Face. So once again, we're back to the heavier, for Coldplay at least, rock songs. And this is definitely a darker sounding Coldplay song, especially for pre-Viva La Vida. I feel like there weren't a lot of these. More so on A Rush of Blood to the Head than on, definitely than on Parachutes, really, and even X and Y, but the overall sound is like a kind of darker. And when you pair that with the video, which also we don't talk about enough, that's an amazing video for this song. It's like a lot to think about. It's like, oh wow, the song gives you a lot to think about. It's still like a pretty straightforward song. I don't know. It's musically, again, it's very like persistent beat. It's very straightforward, but pleasing. And I think the guitar and the bass help contribute to that darker feeling. It gives it this like unsettling feeling. This song is also my favorite song that they performed live in all of its versions. I love all of the different ways that they've performed this song throughout the years. And it just has so much energy, right? That's why they play it before Violet Hill, before like Major Minus was a good addition live as well. But like before that, this was the song, you know? That like if you wanted to really finally like rock out at a Coldplay concert, this was like as good as you can get for that. And it's another song about not knowing what the freaking heck you're doing, which is perfect for me. But again, kind of encouraging you to, or suggesting that even if you don't know what you're doing, there's still something that you're doing that you can be thankful for, or something that you have, or something that, you know, is around you that you can be thankful for, even if you are struggling to really understand yourself and your place, that you're still here, you know? God gave you style and gave you grace. It's funny that he says something about being given style. If you think about it, like from a fashion sense, this clearly was not given to Chris Martin. But anyway, the last thing that I really love in this song, which is disappointing about the live version because he doesn't do it, is the dun 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 part. I love that so much. It's amazing. But he doesn't do that live. I'm pretty sure even in like the live 2003 version, that's the era the song came out in, he didn't even do it then. So he didn't even perform that live. He put it in the studio version. It's to amazing, incredible success, in my opinion. And then never sang that part live, as far as I know anyway. If anyone knows of a live performance where he did that part, let me know, because I would love to hear it. But it must be a very old performance, I would think. It's just amazing. Okay, and finally, my number one Coldplay song. Some of you might know this already because I do not shy away from mentioning that it's my favorite Coldplay song, but it's All I Can Think About Is You. This song, it feels to me like ever since I first heard it, and even before they actually released it, because I remember the very beginning part where they're all just kind of like jamming, which is probably where this song grew out of anyway. I remember hearing it from soundcheck videos, and even listening to that, I'm like, oh wow, this feels really like old Coldplay, right? You can hear it in there, but I think it's like parts of that style through modern Coldplay. So it's like what more of an approach to the style of music that they may have had in the Parachutes era or even pre-Parachutes, but with everything that they've learned since then. So I think that the song, even just in the tone of it, sounds very much like an amalgamation of Coldplay's evolution. But then the way that the song is structured is incredible to me, because it begins with the band all playing simultaneously. I mean, first of all, you have these different parts where it's like, it starts with Johnny doing his little riff and Will's there drumming. Chris comes in and counts, and then it switches and Johnny goes out, Guy comes back in, and then Will's still going. It's like they're trading off. I love that trade-off. And then Chris comes back in with the piano, and then the song is like, that's when the song like really begins. And they're all playing simultaneously, but they're not playing together. They're all playing at the same time, but they're not necessarily playing the same song. It doesn't clash per se, but you can tell there's something that's not quite synced up. And then slowly throughout the song, they start to sync up. And especially once it gets to after the second verse, before what would be where the second chorus should be, but it's not there. If the song, the song does it have a chorus? It kind of has a chorus, I guess. But that's the part where the piano kind of has its own solo. It's like the piano solo. And then the music starts to build a little bit until it gets to the guitar solo. So from the piano solo to the guitar solo, it's really the part where it's like magnets coming together, you know? Or if you've ever watched something like a video of something breaking but in reverse, so it like all comes back together. And so when everything comes together, you get this amazing like climactic moment in the song where Johnny is playing the same riff as the melody that Chris is singing at the exact same time. And it's so, like, nothing is as satisfying as that. All I can think about is you from Chris while Johnny is mirroring him on the guitar. It's just like, I cannot, like, that's probably my favorite thing in any Coldplay song ever. That moment is just like, wow. Yeah, I don't know. This song just makes me feel things, and it's not even necessarily related to the message behind the music. It's just the music itself gets me. So I love it. That moment, amazing. So to me, it kind of feels like you get to experience Coldplay's professional career where they're starting to work together and then they just get better and better and better, and then ultimately they're like at God tier by the end of the song. That's how I feel about All I Can Think About Is You, my favorite Coldplay song. Never to be dethroned, probably. It dethroned Message. But it will never be dethroned. Anyway. Arabesque, Moving to Mars, Warning Sign, White Shadows, Ghost Story, Up with the Birds, Glass of Water, No More Keeping My Feet on the Ground, God Put a Smile Upon Your Face, All I Can Think About Is You. That is my top 10 favorite Coldplay songs of all time. So thank you for joining me here for this discussion. Let me know. I'm curious to know, what are your top 10 Coldplay songs and what do they mean to you? What does your number one Coldplay song mean to you? Do you see a pattern in the songs that you list as your favorites? Let me know. If you like this video, go ahead and like it, subscribe to my channel, share this video with your friends, with your Coldplay friends. And I have a lot more things in store for this channel, so keep your eyes peeled. And that's it. I'll see you all next time. Peace out.